Thank you so much, Jolly. As yeah, game number 1 in this series, it has completed, and I think what immediately sticks out to us is, in contrast to the last series where we were so frequently faced with such unorthodox picks, lots of crazy strategies. Yes, this game, AOE Ginger Turmeric, they maybe went for something a little bit less meta. 100 Thieves next, they played pretty stock standard. They played their game, and Mike, I'm going to toss it to you. It seemed like it worked pretty well.
Yeah, most definitely. They just had to draft winning lanes across the board, solid engage, and just play it very standard with good mechanics and good macro. As for draft, I want to keep in touch with the bot lane picks. They do have range bot lane on AGT's side, but on 100 Thieves side, we have a better synergy when it comes to the Nautilus hook and then Swain following up and then Wukong following up as well. The issue with Ashe is that you have a lot of lane dominance and your arrows are very effective, but it's not as guaranteed as the Nautilus are, and then there isn't as much follow-up, and we're kind of relying on the fact that Karthus is strong enough to deal the damage, but that takes a while. You still need items in order for that Karthus to get strong.
Yeah, and to that as well, the problem with Ashe Misfortune as well in terms of disengage is it's not hard disengage. You've got the Enchanted Crystal Arrow and that's about it, and the problem is the stun gets better the longer it goes. So if you're using it to disengage, it's actually a very short stun. Not enough to stop the Nautilus, the Wukong, from the Gnar from just charging you. You're relying very heavily on just the Gragas Explosive Cask. Unfortunately, Existence didn't get to join a lot of these fights. He was stuck trying to deal with Sniper in the top side, and we touched on the fact that, hey, Existence is the one who beat Sniper. Well, nobody beat Sniper twice in a row, because Sniper bounced back and almost Flame Horizon there.
Yeah, he did. Did he? Are we sure he didn't Flame Horizon at some point? Maybe we can get confirmation on that. He was like 6 CS away at some point.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if he didn't make it. But and we can pull up this first replay and kind of talk over it as it goes, because we were talking about it. It feels like AOE's composition kind of almost had this worst of both worlds situation. Not that it was a bad composition, but they want to go in first, but they don't really have enough follow-up, as we'll see in this fight. But they're also not able to kite it out once the turn happens.
Yeah, and again, like if they had been even in terms of gold, maybe they could have done something here. You can see how much damage Shrimps actually does in the back end of this. And the whole way their comp is supposed to work is basically engaged with the Ashe. You get that burst, with that bullet time, and Requiem there, and then Viego Q reset after reset the entire fight. Just kind of Goomba stomp it. In that particular time, Existence couldn't even get into the fight. We saw, again, coming a little bit late. Everybody's dead by the time you're there. Most of them, Heal is dead. He's the one who's supposed to be off in all of these fights. If he's dead, you don't have enough damage to really finish a lot of these. And this is just coming from straight laning and just mechanical prowess of 100 Thieves next. This is what boss of damage feels like here. He's a good team. It's just hard. 100 Thieves next is this clear.
Yeah, and I had bad news for AGT in that game. We kind of saw it in this fight. Their composition, it sounds so good in theory until you remember that Stopwatch is an item that can be purchased, and Darkwings had quite a few high-value stopwatches, it felt like, that game. I mean, it is just unfortunate that they weren't able to find it, and we can pull up this final replay as well in the final Dragon fight. Karthus actually did get pretty strong at this point in the game. We were starting to talk about it on the desk, like, oh, maybe Captain Shrimps could pull it through, but Mike, just wasn't quite enough.
One important thing to keep in mind is that when you have Viego as one of your only frontliners, we have Gragas too, but Gragas likes to disengage, and then you have an Ashe for support. It's very difficult to be frontline, stay alive in the fights, and we kind of saw that throughout this game. Whereas on 100 Thieves' side, Wukong could go in. He had a lot of follow-up, and he had also Swain soaking up damage on the front line. But Viego in this case has to play pretty scared. There's a lot of CC on the enemy team.
Yeah, and Swain, come on. I've said this before against 100 Thieves Next. You cannot leave this pick open. Darkwings will pick it. It kind of a great Darkwing Tyrant.
True. Yeah, there you go.
It's so good. We literally, I believe it was the Spring 1 final, Summer 1 finals. We literally had that clip we did with the, epic music in the background. Darkwing just refusing to die and turning fights. kind of same thing here, right? Like, Wukong, great initiate, great engage. It's even worse Wings is there because now you've got 2 unkillable forces just pumping out the damage, trading things back and forth here. And, you know, Hockey pointed out, Zhonya's is the thing. It messes up a lot of what they're looking to do. I'd argue Dark Wings Swain is a thing. Even without the Zhonya's, he's still going to mess you up here.
He's still pretty tanky. He's still pretty hard to kill. It feels like ever since Darkwings has come back to amateur, just like Swain, he has ascended to his demonic form because this guy has been pretty crazy. I mean, it was a surprise for many when Darkwings came back to amateur. Granted, on a very successful 100 Thieves next org, I feel like it's hard to say that it's a downgrade or anything, but making that case for himself of like, yeah, this is why Darkwings was picked up by Dignitas Academy in the spring. This guy is really freaking good, and it would be a shame to not see him on a team come 2023. But, you know, we can talk about what happened in that last game a lot, but I think what it really boils down to is that 100 Thieves Next just played some clean League of Legends. I mean, we were talking like, what do we even replay that tells a huge story other than 100 Thieves Next just had a great game plan and they executed upon it. It's almost so simple the way they make it look. So, Mike, I'm going to turn it over to you. How do you, as AGT now, like, break up that flow? How do you throw a wrench in the works somehow to not just have the same thing happen in game 2?
You just need more agency. You need more playmaking potential. When you have Karthus, you don't really have much potential. When you have a champion like Ashe, it's not as guaranteed as Nautilus. Ashe is more for the laning phase, not actually for the team fight. So I would focus more on the team fight. So drafting more team fight, because it's going to be very difficult to just lane bully 100 Thieves out of the game.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. Sniper in that game, right? On the Gnar, just taking every tower. But RMC, any final thoughts before we get into game number 2?
I agree with Mike there. Agency, I think, is key. And specifically, I'm looking at the mid lane for Captain Shrimps, because Captain Shrimps has been outstanding recently in his games, you know, been a big carry for the team. The card is really good for later on, but I think, you know, something like a Syndra just unlocks Q to do so much more. I think a lot of why I like AGT is the chaos that they can bring to the game, and they can disrupt what often people consider better teams, more structured teams, and 100X perfectly fits that bill. So if you want to mess them up, pick at least one early lane that you can play to. I think Captain Shrimps has shown that oftentimes he's the best at being that sort of lane that can introduce some variability here.
Yeah, well, we'll see if Ginger Turmeric can try to maybe take some matters into their own hands and turn this series around. But as it stands, 100 Thieves Next, it looks like they're going to advance to yet another final here in the PGCQ. We still have our predictions sitting at 2-1s, RMC. I know yours in particular may be looking a little bit in jeopardy, but we'll only have to see what ends up happening. We're going to get underway with game number 2. Jolly and Beatdown, take it away.
Right. Game number 2 and potentially the last of the day.
Right.
We are on the second series, and you know, this is one where I was saying it's very likely it's going to be a 2-0 with how confident 100 Thieves Next are looking. I would say that, you know, I'm even more confident, I guess, in that pick. But again, this is where the hunger comes through, right? This is the opportunity to move on to finals. And so AOE Ginger Turmeric, that's where this hunger kicks in, where they're really going to start trying to strut their stuff to see if they can stay in this one for one more game at least.
Right, and this is where it starts. I mean, I agree, especially with what Mike was saying on the desk, how you do need more playmaking potential. And the fact is, we talked about it while we were watching the game, Jolly, that the only real bits of hard CC, the only potential for that playmaking was on existence on the Gragas, and that isn't quite enough on 100 Thieves side. You have Wukong, you have Nautilus, very easily able to start things off. I would say you had Gnar, but Sniper spent most of the game all on the side, playing Power Farm and Turret Breaking Simulator. But for the most part, I agree. We need to see more engaged potential there, more simpler to execute compositions if AOE Ginger Turmeric want to see a third game.
And I was talking about too, you know, it's a big fall off for Misfortune and Ashe if they get far behind, right? And they absolutely did. Both of them were sitting at like 0-3, you know, before they were able to really move into the team fight stage.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree. even though that was a composition where, you know, Mike Young was saying they're playing for the laning phase, it still didn't really work out in their favor for the laning phase.
Yeah.
And so if you're not playing at all towards the team fight stage, and then your laning phase falls apart because it just isn't able to be executed properly, then you're kind of throwing your win condition out the window. So I want to see more than the laning phase. I definitely do want to see some of that team fight opportunity here, because it was kind of there, right? With the Gragas, it was kind of there with like the Misfortune, but it was very, very loose. Whereas on the other side, when you've got the Gnar, when you've got the Wukong, when you've got the Swain, I mean, that makes it almost impossible. And then on top of it, you throw the Nautilus and the Zeri in. The Nautilus is going to be able to keep this Zeri back, as far back from the fight as possible. That just wasn't really in existence. Maybe the Gragas, but there was no real chance for that to actually come to fruition towards the later stages. So definitely, I agree with the desk. I agree with you here at Beatdown. I would love to see a game number 3, but 100 Thieves next certainly look on their game today. Even with Sniper not doing incredibly well in the top lane, which is where you know the 100 Thieves places most of the eggs, right, in that top basket. Still didn't go great because Gnar was shut down a couple times early on. Didn't matter because the utility came into effect in the later parts of the game. So want to see maybe more focus also coming out of AGT towards just the bottom side of the map. I like the utility behind the MF and the Ashe. I don't necessarily think it's going to win them the game here, though. I'd like to see a little bit more of a fallback, I suppose, if the laning phase doesn't quite go well.
Right. I think that lane in itself is honestly okay. And it's something they've run with a lot of success. I will even say, looking at the game and like what I was watching the items most of the time, I think most of the gold lead 100 Thieves has was mostly on Sniper, just because of the insane lead. He was getting a lot of solo turrets and things like that. I was looking at itemization. Shrimps was actually ahead of Dark Wings for a lot of the game. He was CSing like a madman. And for the most part, Deep Learn and Duo King were kind of keeping even here. So it's really just about setting yourself up to have an easier time team fighting going into this second game. And that's what I'm hoping to see when we look into the draft here.
Well, let's see exactly what we have in store. Of course, it is a swap inside, so 100 Thieves next is going to be on blue. AOE Ginger Turmeric going to be on the red side this time, so they have the opportunity to get some counter picks. But we'll have to see how those counter picks come into play, because AGT, they had some counter picks in this game, and it still didn't quite work how they were planning on it coming through. So starting the bans, pretty standard. It's going to be the Udyr once again from 100 Thieves. If you don't remember that first game, they banned the Udyr, the GP, and the Corki. So a lot of focus onto Captain Shrimps, who actually has been running that Gangplank in the mid lane as well.
True. And of course, getting rid of some of Keel's tried and true picks. I mean, Udyr's so strong right now too, so it makes sense that we just don't want to be seeing that one. And again, reminder, this is for the last finals spot. Taco Gaming took it in our first semifinals earlier on, and 100 Thieves one game away from taking that last spot there and going to their third finals appearance. And AOE Ginger Turmeric, they're looking for their first one, but it all starts in game 2, taking the series distance.
Well, it all started in game 1, but now this is where it starts for them, right?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
We don't want to say they started yet. That was just a warm-up game, okay? That's what
it
it
doesn't count, right?
Even though I did predict, the 2-0 in favor of 100 Thieves next, I want to give that, I want to give a little bit of leeway, maybe not the edge, of course, over to AOE Ginger Turmeric, but we've seen them get away with crazier things. We've seen them take down this team before in the past in a series, so they still have that chance here. It is once again the Gangplank. It is a respect ban for the Gnar as well. Even getting that Gragas as the opposing pick was not enough for Ginger Turmeric to say we're going to let it come through again. No, it's the Callista, it's the Gnar, and then on the other side, same 3 bans that I was talking about, the Udyr, the Gangplank, and the Corki, specifically focusing Keel and Captain Shrimps.
Right, and I mean, Shrimps, we saw it in the last series where they managed to beat Maryville at the very end. A lot of it was off the back of Captain Shrimps' insane Corki play. So it's good that they are paying their respects and getting rid of it here. And now that 100 Thieves are on the blue side, what are they going to be looking to prioritize here? It could very well just be them looking to grab Wukong yet again. For a while, when Wukong first got changed and was thrust back into the jungle, he was the B1 pick for the long time. Okay, we're picking Sniper's Fiora B1. That's what I like to see, Mist.
Right?
That's what I like to see.
Yeah, we don't even know if Mist had a say. For all we know, Sniper's like, Fiora, I'm doing it.
Maybe, yeah, true. It could either one of them.
It is good to be able to get some counterplay, though, of course. The Jace, definitely a big one. Any of these fighters that we're seeing in the top lane, right? The Camille, the Fiora, any of these hard aggressors that are just going to stick to an enemy champion, Jace is good into them. And it does look like maybe GTC, AGT, gonna run back with the Ashe in the support slot. Again, honestly, I do not see this being an ADC at all. We haven't seen ADC Ashe in a very long time. So maybe they can make it work this time. But the Azir, again, Dark Wings. Man, if you think of Dark Wings and a champion other than Corki, or sorry, not Captain Shrimps for Corki, if you're thinking of Dark Wings and a champion here, it is absolutely Azir.
Right, and I mean, it was banned away before in place of where the Wukong was by AOE Ginger Turmeric. So this time around, they take it right away, no problem there. He's done great work on the champion and Fnatic, being on the Volibear, a lot of early game skirmishing power there, especially once you hit level 3. And we know Fnatic's early pathing is something to marvel at. So now, you do have Captain Shrimps locking in the Xerath, which I like, because you will be outranging the Azir. And I mean, overall, you got a lot of range and poke on your side so far looking at AoE Ginger Turmeric's composition.
A lot of range and poke. Now, the scary thing is the escapability. Not quite there. They do have crowd control, at least to kind of layer down potentially. But if this Volibear decides to, you know, Stormbringer onto, say that this is, I mean, a selection from top, mid, and bottom lane here that has been locked in by AGT, there's not a ton of places you can go. Not only that, you've got the Emperor's Divide on top of it. So if Dark Wings gets a good one of those, you're literally throwing all of these champions with no innate escape or no escape within their kit. And then you're saying, all right, have a nice feast, Sniper. So I want to see a little bit more survivability, maybe either initiation or even, you know, just the ability to detach from some of these fights would be very good for AGT.
And that's the thing. At this point now with the picks, it's got to be from support or jungle. You know, like Xerath is already locked in, Jace is already locked in, so it's not coming from the solo laners in any real capacity. You do have the Enchanted Crystal Arrow once again, so it could be an angle where we see this come through for Deep Learn this time around, because Deep Learn on occasion will be the one playing the Ashe instead of Duo King, and it all depends on what that fourth pick ends up being there. We could see a support. Actually, I think support, you could just go jungle. Jungle's already picked up. There isn't much you do, and it's the Kha'Zix. Okay.
It's the Kha'Zix. We've seen several Kha'Zix bans today, actually, though I do believe that was against the other AoE team who likes to run it. So Heal having a lot of aggro. Okay,
it was against City, actually.
Oh, it was City Witty. There you go.
Yeah,
maybe not the frontline initiator I was looking for, but still some chance, maybe an exposure here for at least AGT to have some early presence in lanes and get some early pressure, some early snowballing happening, probably down towards the bottom where they were focusing the last game. And oh my gosh, Lens and Jinx. It's another one. Absolutely, this is Sniper, one of Sniper's absolute mains, one of Darkwing's mains, one of Fnatic's mains. Lens, same exact thing. I mean, these all four members, and then also Sword on the Tahm Kench is definitely a classic here. But when we're talking about priority picks, these are like top 2, top 3 easy for every single member of 100 Thieves right now.
Right, now, okay, we are getting the confirmation. It is the Renata for Duo King, and that means Deep Learn will be running the Ashe again like he did in the previous series. So you don't necessarily have the most amount of engage, and Renata's hostile takeover is usually best as like follow-up. You throw something in there like, I don't know, Malphite ultimate, and then you follow it up with things like that. But there's still a lot of utility for it to be had in a more defensive setting. Absorb pressure, 100 Thieves all in. You can use that hostile takeover to kind of slow things down a bit, give you opportunities to back up, keep the space that you're looking for here. Because again, Ashe, Jace, Xerath, you're trying to keep them at range for the most part. And that makes the Kha'Zix a little peculiar for me, where he wants to do something a little different. He's going to be flanking a little bit on his own, looking to see if he can isolate Jinx. And that's why I like the Tahm Kench pick. We talked about it. Giving your AD carry, especially a hyper carry like Jinx, that one get out of jail free card in team fights can be a huge turning point.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing that I'm looking at. I want right about frontline for AGT 0 beatdown as we get into game number 2. 100 Thieves next on the blue side. They are at match point going against AOE Ginger Turmeric, who have chosen the red side for this game number 2. We'll see how things play out. Honestly, I can't lie. Going into this after the draft is locked in, I'm glad I said 100 Thieves 2-0 because I do not see any survivability on the side of AGT, and there's so much damage coming from 100 Thieves next. How are they going to stay alive?
It's just going to be about keeping space. Like we talking about, Jolly. It's just how, for the most part, Shrimps, Deep Learn, Existence, got to play at their range as best they can to be able to get in a lot of that damage here. That's kind of the hope. And then you hope that you can set up Keel for those alternate flanks. You use that ultimate, go into stealth, hope you can blow somebody up or force Sword to use the Devour in a less than opportune moment.
I do appreciate the perspective. It's always scary when you say, well, they can hope to do this because the problem is if that hope falls through, right? If they're not actually able to execute what they're trying to, then there's no fallback. Like I said, it's just like that first game where they're trying to funnel things in, but if it doesn't work out, if their bottom lane doesn't come to fruition, then they're just kind of lost. And I definitely feel the same way here about this draft coming through from AOE GTC. I would love for them to prove me wrong. I love to be forced to eat my own words in a situation like this when they perform better than I expect. But knowing how 100 Thieves next is, I mean, it's going to be almost impossible to mitigate the amount of stickability that they have. Once they go in, they are going in.
Speaking of Sniper, looking for whatever early damage he can get on here and is already pressuring Existence. And I think the thing is, too, with this matchup, Existence picked this into Sniper. And you're hoping that you can get some advantages with the range advantage that you have, but you better hope you get it because later on, no amount of range, the ability to knock someone back once is going to save you from Fiora when her Q is on like some dummy low cooldown. She's just sprinting towards you.
It is a good way to mitigate that for sure, but again, doesn't allow for somebody like a frontliner, somebody to be able to absorb a lot of the damage or the aggression coming from these high AD power spikes that are going to be available for 100 Thieves next. That, and then also we're talking about scaling and looking at that. The opportunities for 100 Thieves next are absolutely insane for scaling. Almost everybody has that available under their belt here for this team, whereas with Ginger Turmeric, if they don't get that early lead for themselves, it's going to be very difficult. We can see now already Keel getting bullied away from his own red buff. Fnatic just comes in, throws down an E and says, thank you very much, that is mine now.
Yeah, it will be, and I like it. That early ward actually paying off.
Oh no.
Okay. Nothing will happen. But Fnatic, of course, asserting a little bit of dominance thanks to the pressure Sniper has gotten for himself here and making it even harder. Keel to go for the recall here. So you do walk away with some camps, and I like 100 Thieves and Fnatic using that early pressure they have to make Keel's life harder. Can't farm efficiently. Getting your camp stolen.
And that might give the opportunity as well here Fnatic to go down and take the second scuttle. He does have his own jungle now that he's able to navigate through and stack up some of those buffs for himself. Also means that he'll have fresher buffs going into some of these fights, which is both a good thing and a bad thing. If you do happen to go down, you need to pass that buff off and over to whoever manages to kill you. It might not work out very well. He did not decide to go for both scuttles, just going through, clearing out the rest of his jungle. I like the play that we saw from Fnatic there after taking the red buff from Keel. Sure, he had the chance to clean up the rest of those Krugs, but he's like, nah, it's fine. I'm just going to stop your recall with my E, and I'm going to walk away back into my jungle and take more gold, take more camps, and get that much farther ahead.
Yeah, you don't actually care about like getting the entirety of that one camp. You just want to go back to farming your own jungle here, and you can see it. You saw the scrying orb actually. Gives that information that Keel went for the invade, but didn't actually get the opportunity to go for the Raptor steal. And it's worth noting too, Fnatic actually hasn't recalled yet. So he's getting some of his respawn camps and is going to have a good bit of gold to spend when he does go for the recall.
Good bit of gold, good bit of experience. Still no first blood, though, as we can see, Sniper has been trying as hard as possible to lock that one down. A nice little level up right there for Existence means that he can definitely stay in the fight. It's only going to be a matter of time, though, before Sniper has the upper hand on this one, and even into a counter pick champion. When it comes to Sniper's Fiora, it does not matter. He plays this champion so dang well that you can really pick whoever you want to into this, and you won't necessarily have the upper hand on paper.
Well, I mean, it's worth noting too, Sniper was doing a great job on Gnar in the side lane, drawing so much pressure, taking down so much turrets. Well, Fiora's built for that.
Yep.
It's going to be that much more difficult. AOE don't try and put him behind in this early game, and so far, not any bit of that has been happening here. And I mean, it's tough because Keel, you're playing the Kazakhs. You're trying to farm. Trying to get some itemization coming through here before you really try and make something happen on this champion.
That's the other side of the problem, too, is if you really want to make something happen on the champion, you need to know that Fnatic is not around, right? You need to know that Darkwings isn't going to be in a place where he's got to a favorable circumstance, right, going into somebody like Keel, because yeah, there's a lot of damage available for him, but he still takes a lot in response. And with Darkwing's range that he's also got available, it's setting something up quite nice for himself there. Captain Shrimp's already pushed back, has his teleport down, whereas on the side of 100 Thieves next, 2 TPs still up and available because Darkwings and Sniper have not had to use them at all.
This has been that easy. So much pressure on the solo laners of 100 Thieves next, and it's being used so well by Fnatic, going for invades, pressuring Keel, and now picking up Dragon number 1 with absolutely no contention coming through from AOE Ginger Turmeric. And I mean, again, they're not in a position to do it just yet. Keel not in a place where he actually wants to be fighting at the moment here. And now with that being taken, 100 next, all they have to do is focus their attention on the Rift Herald that's coming up in just over a minute's time. You gotta imagine supports are gonna start thinking about moving towards there pretty soon.
Making moves, the teleport finally being expended here by Sniper, who's able to recall, get full-plated steel caps, pick up a longsword as well as that Doran shield that he started the game with. So feeling pretty good, especially considering Existence is recalling once again. He's gonna grab that tier, but he's gotta walk the long way up that lane due to the fact that he's only got about a third of his cooldown run through for Existence. So already 100 Thieves next, their plan working out really well, and unfortunately for fans of AOE GTC or the team themselves, it's just looking more and more dire as time goes on. I know it's only 7 minutes in, I know we don't even have a first blood, but my gosh, the stacking and scaling potential for 100 Thieves is pretty massive.
And now 100 Thieves pretty well set up to go for this Rift Herald that's spawning pretty soon. Darkwings spends a lot of his gold, is TPing back to lane. Sniper did the same and has TP'd back himself. So the solo laners are ready to skirmish if things go sideways. And Fnatic also just hit level 6, has access to the Stormbringer, which means that Fnatic is definitely ready to skirmish here, even though Keel's hit level 6. Slightly less impactful ultimate, at least at this point in the game.
Not just less impactful, but again, without any frontline. I mean, it's so
True.
hard to get some full initiations here. And when you have something like Stormbringer, where, like I said, this ability for 100 Thieves next to just stick to the enemy members, whether we're talking about the ultimate from Sniper, whether we're talking about the Stormbringer from Fnatic, whether we're talking about the Emperor's I mean, all of it really has the ability to lock down or continue the fight and the aggression onto Ginger Turmeric. And they just really don't have that availability on their side. Sure, they've got some good damage if they can stack up some items, if they can get some solid bolts for themselves, but the actual team fight stage of things, I mean, it's going to be so incredibly difficult to actually execute something in a 5v5 situation.
And it is going to get harder too, because so far, all early game objectives gone towards 100 Thieves next. They're going to, Fnatic, about to secure this Rift Herald. And with level 6 here on the line, can easily set up for a dive mid, a dive top, and actually Fnatic's going top, which is where Keel is as well, so we can have an early 2v2 coming through.
Well, it has been placed there.
Keel ulted.
Yeah. Keel spotted out. Oh yeah, you're right. There it is. That is down for Keel, maybe trying to make a move here onto Fnatic. He does have the level up here. And it's right as this Scuttle Crab is spawning. And in the meantime, Existence has made his way down here to assist Keel. Still pretty far behind in CS, though. It's currently 81 to 59, so Existence has really been struggling in this top lane.
And that's brutal. I mean, it's one of Sniper's signature picks. Him getting such a lead means he's going to be a monster in the side lane, especially because you're going to be expecting Existence to be the one to match. And if Keel shows up, those play the steel caps, they're going to do a lot of work. You got the double AD on the top side here. So they are going to have to do something about Sniper very, very soon. But it's like you mentioned before, too, on the flip side, Lens very quietly scaling up here, going even in CS. I mean, he's playing Jinx, so you're fine with that. You're chilling.
Yep. Even if you're behind, right? That's kind of the idea, too. And there's so much of that side lane opportunity as well. Sniper being one of the best side... Sorry, not Sniper, but Fiora being one of the best side laners later in the game, as well as having Lens on this Jinx, who later on is just able to provide so much pressure and so much priority in these lanes that, yeah, you're totally fine with going behind a little bit. And I wouldn't even call, you know, a couple of CSs pretty much even, right? Sure, there's a minimal difference, but it really doesn't make that much of a change. We're talking about experience and gold. And Sword still has this frontline potential. It is level 6 level 7 for the bottom lane. So if we find maybe a hostile takeover, if it's followed up by an enchanted crystal arrow, the chance is there for AOE Ginger Turmeric to get a pickup, but it's going to have to be not on sword, and they're going to have really good eyes on lens to do that.
And I like that. I like that quick little play there from Darkwing. See if he can force the flash from Captain Shrimps, kind of being like, "Oh, might help. I might help." But Shrimps ends up holding on to that one. And honestly, that's a pretty big deal, just because had he used the flash and he walked up to lane, Fnatic being here right now would be very bad. So it means that Fnatic probably not going to get the mid Herald drop he's looking for. On the other hand, look at Deep Learn all by his lonesome, Jolly. He's still by the turret. Fnatic might take that personally.
Fnatic just able to walk right below that enchanted crystal arrow. That also means the Rift Herald is going to come out here on the bottom side, and this likely will be the first tower to go down. Just about 1/2 of a plate that they have to break through for Ginger Turmeric, and with Fnatic in the wings, Lens, Fnatic, and Sword all going to pick up a big, hefty chunk of gold in their pockets, as it is still 2.5 minutes before these plates even fall. Duo King and Deep Learn trying to go in. The flash comes forward. Sword has to flash in response as Duo King is looking for the chance to throw out the hostile takeover. So no tower goes down. And there was only one ultimate available right there, but heal was in the wings.
Still a lot of gold going taken down, even with that plate. That turret is not long for this world, Jolly. And I think it's wise of 100 Thieves to back off. Like, it's worth noting, even though Xerath doesn't do the most amount of roaming, that Right of the Arcade means you can have that impact from a very great distance. So Shrimps leaving lane was kind of the prompt to back off for 100 next. It means they will back off the dragon, but it's okay.
Works out all right for them. Sniper doing a ton of damage here. He's going to be able to walk away. Kind of close call there with Existence. He's low on mana. He's going to have to recall. Both of them have their teleports up and available. Both of the mid lane teleports are down, but Darkwings is about to pop up here, so maybe the chance for them to make a move. That second dragon was pretty quickly taken, of course, by AOE Ginger Turmeric, so they're at least finding some sort of recourse and not allowing every single one of these objectives to go over to 100 Thieves next. But it's crazy to say that we're almost 13 minutes into this game beat down, and we have yet to see First Blood.
That's
I
true.
want to see the tower go down before First Blood.
I'm honestly more curious on whether or not this tower will go down before 14 minutes, just because.
Oh my god!
I think that's fine, just because the local gold goes kind of crazy, and I'm sure Lens is just thinking about it like, oh yeah, let me get that last auto in. Wait, actually, can we see how much health that turret has?
Is there any
I'm
way
so
to
curious.
actually see the turret health?
We have 17 HP. We just got word. That's great. Even Sword could auto it, and it would go down.
It's true. Anyone could auto it. You get another minion or two to be able to push up there and throw a little minion auto at that. And I think Ginger Turmeric knows that's absolutely the case. We can see that Ashe has made her way there for Deep Learn, navigated up to the mid lane, just trying to clear out some of the jungle because they are already behind.
Oh,
in CS.
it's happening?
There it is. Woo!
Okay.
First turret down, and it was full plate gold. Still 10 seconds before the plates drop at 14.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is. A nice chunk of gold into Lens's pocket after he walks back to lane with the Kraken Slayer. This Jinx having a good time playing Farming Simulator here, as I guess technically every team is, since no kill has come through, like you pointed out, Jolly. But it's going to come through soon. In fact, let's take some bets. Where do you think First Blood is going to come through, Jolly? Talk to me.
Oh. I mean, it looks like it's going to
Just
take
give me
place,
a give me a
It's gotta-
location.
It's got to be
Okay.
right. I want to say Fnatic's entry into this, right?
Okay,
I think
okay.
Fnatic's entry is going to result in a First Blood, right? If Fnatic's able to get a Stormbringer in, throw the Q down, get a lock on any of these members, again, not very much escapability available for them. Well, maybe, though, it'll be AGT who find themselves a play. I don't think it's here on Sniper, though. A little too risky.
Yeah, probably not. Just making sure that Sniper doesn't go a little too far. But also level 11 Fiora is quite a distance before it's actually too far. Although they want to make the play on him instead. Does this actually work? I don't know.
You do have the question mark pings coming out, right? They saw with that ward that was placed in front of the Herald pit by Sniper that Duo King and Keel were there in the wings, and there it is. Fnatic is deciding
Teleport.
to go in. He's going to get locked down. Out comes the Stormbringer. Let's see if this comes to fruition as the teleport comes through as well from Darkwings onto the backside. But no, there's not enough commitment for 100 Thieves next. In the meantime, it's actually Lens that gets jumped on.
Oh,
what
wow.
an abyssal dive by Sword. Comes into the perfect time to be able to get that. And there it is, the first blood. It goes
You
over
called
Fnatic
it.
with the flash forward. I got the call. It was actually the ultimate from Dark Wings that resulted in that first kill, though. A nice Emperor's Divide to force a couple of members of Ginger Turmeric back over. Will Lens take too much? It is the charged cannon that manages to get the kill. It's a 1-for-1, but first blood does go over to Fnatic.
Wow, that will give the opportunity for AOE Ginger to go back in and try and fight for the Rift Herald if they want to. I think it's still being done right now. Sniper is in the area, but we're going to go to a replay. I'm getting
Maybe,
word
maybe
of.
not, maybe not.
Maybe not. Oh, there's a play?
There we go.
Okay, we're going to get the replay here. And yeah, it is like, again, they're trying to keep Fnatic at bay here, but as soon as Dark Wings teleports in, it's nice and easy. And Keel tries to make the play because Lens is now isolated, but you said it, the Abyssal Dive eats the arrow. Lens doesn't even have to flash. He knows he has to devour even if he gets hit by it, and that sets it up so that AOE Ginger Turmeric, they're too far in. They've committed so much onto Lens, who didn't die.
Look at this shot, though, coming through right here from Existence. And
From
it
the
was
Raptors.
perfectly timed because you could see it was that was cooperation right there between Captain Shrimps and Existence, because Captain Shrimps did end up using his ultimate. That meant that he knew exactly where where the Azir was not going to be. And that worked out really, really well for them. That's the second Rift Herald that was actually picked up here, as we can see, by 100 Thieves. That means they're going to find themselves the second tower of the game. This will likely go down before a second charge, though, because Existence is here.
I like it. This time, you're seeing 100 Thieves next. A lot of focus towards this top side of the map here. Even Dark Wings recalls late before going to answer that bottom wave. Just making sure Sniper gets that gold nice and safe so that he can be that side lane just nightmare for someone like Existence to have to deal with here. Now, speaking of, yeah, the 4v4, they find someone.
Stormbringer is almost back up. There it is. Fnatic ends up getting mowed by Sword, so that is one ultimate down. Like I said, Fanatics is up and available. Actually, Ginger Turmeric, they're going to be able to turn onto this one, and it is no real response from 100 Thieves. I like the little attempt there by Dark Wings, and he's actually able to navigate away from that enchanted crystal arrow. So Ginger Turmeric almost trying to find a kill to follow that one up. It doesn't come through.
Yeah, I like the call to back off there from 100 Thieves next. Yeah. Once the Devourer is forced out onto Fnatic, Lens becomes a little more vulnerable, even with that flash up. So you don't want to risk it. It means that AoE Ginger Turmeric are halfway to that Dragon Soul and Infernal Soul would do them a whole lot of good, especially with the range and the poke that they have for themselves here. That's going to be a big priority for them in these next couple of minutes. And what 100 next going to be able to do about it here? You let this dragon go so you don't risk a fight where you give too much gold. I like that. But the next one, on the other hand, try and set yourself up in a position so you can actually fight it.
Right. And in that instance, too, when it's the third dragon, the ability to stack afterwards and get that soul, get the Elder Spawn, certainly something that Ginger Turmeric is working towards. 100 Thieves next, though, because they have this pressure on the map, you know, it's particularly, of course, as we talked about the bottom lane and the top lane, having both of those tier 1 turrets down means that now that they've got a timer on this, they can do a much better job of preparing for the assault here. And as I'm talking about preparing for an assault, it looks like it will be Existence who has jumped on. It's 3 members out here. The grand challenge was used, and that means the Sniper is going to be able to pick up the 1 kill and force a recall here out of Keel.
Yeah, nice and easy. Kill onto Existence, and they lose nothing in the process here. Keel was nearby, ends up going to finish that recall. I like the Fnatic again. He's still hanging around, still making sure Sniper is under not too much threat here. And you can see that Demolish doing work on this turret. Keel, oh, you can't be here.
Too much damage coming out of the side of 100 Thieves next. He is going to be able to
They're
avoid
teleporting.
the jump there, but TP's coming through. Sword is here. Keel ends up getting ignited by Sword. Dark Wings is on the run. Duo King in the back. It's the flash forward from Dark Wings. The Emperor's Divide. Keel barely alive thanks to Duo King, but it will not be enough. And now it's 100 Thieves next on the run. Out comes the ultimate from Xerath. Darkwings dashing away from that. The Abyssal Dive coming out of Sword to avoid being jumped on or collapsed on there. And Darkwings able to avoid all of those shots at Xerath ultimate. So nobody ends up going down from 100 Thieves.
Yeah, except for that mid tier 1 ends up going down, and Lens gets a nice bit of extra gold just for, hanging around. He gets to walk away from it too. It means this Jinx, who's already 2 items, full item ahead of Deep Learn, is just continuing to be accelerated in this game here, and where a lot of this gold lead for 100 Thieves next sitting on. Hitting at level 11 point. Lens is a problem, Jolly. A problem I don't know if AOE have an answer to. That's why AOE Ginger Turmeric, if they want that next dragon, it has to be like, look at that poke. So the big thing here is that you want to leverage that. You want to be able to ensure you have control over the river. Set your vision so that 100 Thieves next have to walk into you, because having to walk into Xerath Jace is not really that fun as an AD carry. Lens will simply want to go next.
Exactly. Well, they are next. 100 Thieves next.
Yeah,
And that's
true,
their
you're
go
right, you're
next.
right.
Go next means the 100 Thieves takes the game, from my understanding. All right, so we'll have to see if that's out. And yes, if Len steps forward, happens to walk into Captain Shrimps, happens to walk into existence, it definitely spells something bad. But if Lens has either Sword or Fnatic with him, or even Darkwings, or honestly even Sniper at this point, he's going to be relatively safe. So you have to watch out for the poke, and he's been doing a solid job of that. That is something, of course, Captain Shrimps now can acknowledge. But it's so hard right now for AOE Ginger Turmeric to try to separate Lens out from the rest of the team, because everybody is just here to keep him alive.
That is the goal here. Yeah, well, 1 minute till this next dragon here that AOE really want to try and prioritize, but it's tough. You can see it. When the 100 Thieves bring the numbers mid, all AOE Ginger Turmeric can do is back off and clear the wave closer to their side of the map. It means they have vision. It means kill.
They have vision. There's the Stormbringer to try to follow up onto Keel, who had to flash away from this. Super Mega Death Rocket going on to Deep Learn. Duo King now trying to run away from Sniper here, who is going to be able to use that grand challenge to get a lot of damage down. Duo King almost falling here. Sword has to use the Devour to try to keep Sniper up and alive. The riposte being utilized there as well. Now the damage onto Lens. The rest of GT trying to chase 100 Thieves next, but they're not going to be able to follow it up with the damage necessary. They do, however, clear 100 Thieves away from this dragon.
That's exactly what you needed. Who needs the kills? It doesn't matter. You force them out. You force out key ultimates, and you make it so that 100 Thieves, they don't have the health to actually go for this fight here. The range, look at the damage dealers from in Captain Shrimps in existence. You can't actually be here.
Oh! Is Duo King really going to get out of that one? Come on.
Wow.
These supports and their ability to escape from fights has just been immaculate today. Duo King at least ends up getting out the Emperor's Divide on that fight, and that means that Ginger Turmeric should be able to easily pick this one up. There it is. No turn on to Sniper. Ooh!
Oh, it's the Baron
that's not the
turn, though. Okay, and it's
Ah.
perfect because now they have enough vision to know that AOE Ginger Turmeric are here, and they have that bot wave pushing, so Sniper can just continue to pressure the side lane while 100 Thieves pull the rest of AOGT across the map. And look how quickly he's done. That turret's basically gone, and that's so much gold, all for the fact that 100 Thieves started hitting the Baron and walked away.
Now Sniper has to get out. He does have a lot of mobility, though. He is this Fiora. Side laning, of course, is her game, and that's exactly what you do. You come in, autos, lay down so much damage onto the towers. Not only that, Sniper's going to be able to stay here and continue the pressure onto this bottom lane because of the recalls that we know came through from and existence in the top side of the map.
Right. It's a lot of pressure. I think even Sniper is stealing the Gromp away from Keel, it looks like, and just keeping that bottom wave pushed in means 100 Thieves could technically do this one again. As soon as Sniper recalls, because he's sitting on a lot of gold, picks up that Ravenous Hydra, he's going to be a difficult problem to deal with on AoE Ginger Turmeric's side. So you're hoping that instead of having to engage the next, you want to force them to have to come into you, and that happens in about 3 minutes time, Jolly. Because AoE force 100 next off that dragon, and they're at Infernal Soul Point, when that dragon comes up, if AoE get in the river first, if they get control, they will get that soul.
And it was, it was the first dragon going over to 100 Thieves. So this has been AoE Ginger Turmeric setting up perfectly 3 times in a row to lock down the dragon for themselves. Now look at this pressure here in the mid lane. All 5 members want to take down another tower for AoE GTC. That's going to be the second one of the game for themselves. In the meantime, though, hey, we talked about the side lane opportunities here for 100 Thieves next. They're absolutely taking it as Darkwings has already started to deal damage to this top inhibitor turret. Now it looks like everyone from AoE GTC is trying to make their way up to Darkwings. He's going to be able to dash out of that one. Not quite enough damage from Rite of the Arcane to get the kill, but the Enchanted Crystal Arrow does come through. It manages to land onto Fnatic, who might have to Stormbringer out of this one. The damage on Keel, though, is massive. Darkwings flash away from this one isn't going to be get out, but Fnatic does a flash of his own. Again, it's all a distraction. 100 Thieves next. They lose a single member. And in the meantime, an inhibitor in the mid lane gets exposed.
And that's the thing here. You commit so many people to the side so you can guarantee the kill onto Darkwings. But right now, you don't necessarily have the instant Baron opportunity, especially because you have so much vision to clear off from 100 Thieves next side. And by the time you've done that, Darkwings, he can TP and join the fray. So because of that overextension, that overcommitment, you lose your mid-tier 3 turret, but these are the only things AoE really have to do at the moment until that dragon spawns. At least now, they can start setting up some of this vision topside and just shift that focus on the bottom side so that, one, they can this Dragon Soul, and also that 100 Thieves can't do the Baron from under their noses like they did in Game 1.
And that's, where... Sure, they do have a lot of scaling, they have a lot of damage potential, but as of right now, it's more in their survivability and their ability to kind of burn down these members of Ginger Turmeric. So it is very good sighting from AOE GTC to say, okay, we'll poke down, we'll do what we can in terms of range damage to at least force these members off in their preparation of setting up for some of these objectives. How much does it matter, though, when we're talking about the gold difference from the lead they've been able to gain, not just within the gold, but the fact that that gold has primarily come from getting a lot of these towers, getting a lot of pressure all over the map. And we kind of come to the same situation where, in the previous series or in the last game of this series, where the next team to take, if 100 Thieves next, for instance, finds a really solid ace, that could be the end of the game. If AOE Ginger Turmeric do, that's absolutely not the end of the game. They still have a lot more work to do.
Right, and then they managed to get that ace and secure Dragon Soul. It will get them in a pretty good position to do a lot of that work you're alluding to, Jolly. So again, that's the thing we're playing for. Now, 100 Thieves shifting their focus on this bottom side of the map, making sure that AOE Ginger Turmeric have to walk through just a forest of darkness to be able to check what's going on in the Dragon Pit. But that is the nice thing about Ashe. That Hawk Shot gives you sight over areas where you don't have any vision. It's a big thing to play for now, but Wade Zamuto's flanking.
Here it is. My concern,
Sniper.
the lack of frontline. Out goes the hostile takeover. Does a lot of damage.
Sniper's
but when we're talking
in.
about damage, it's Darkwings who's able to get a beautiful Emperor's Divide. Captain Trips maybe getting the W there from Renata Glass, but it's too little too late.
My
In comes the
God.
Missile Dive. This is exactly what I was talking about. When it comes to a full team fight, there's not enough resilience within AOE GTC, and we saw it right there, a double kill. And now 100 Thieves next, they say, all right, we heard you, Jolly.
Series
We
is
heard that
over.
we can end the game here right now. We don't need to go for Baron. We don't need to go for any objectives. There's now 20 plus seconds. I guess the most would be Duo King here at 10 seconds left, and the game might even be over before he even has the chance to spawn here. That is it. 100 Thieves next in a very decisive 2-0 have locked themselves in for yet another time, the fourth time into the finals of Proving Grounds closed qualifiers, this time into number 2 and for our summer split.
Man, what an incredible performance here. 100 next. An amateur is not a joke, and now they have locked their ticket over to the grand finals. They're going to be playing against Taco Gaming, who we saw won earlier on in the day, setting a lot of our expectations, but it's just been insanely clean play from 100 Thieves next. And for the most part, that's usually what we see from this team, and especially, like you said, Jolly, when the stakes matter, they step it up.
They really do. And when it comes to going to the finals, they're not going to break the trend anytime soon, that is for sure. It was really well played by AOE Ginger Turmeric. Game number 2 was certainly a bit more of a struggle, and I will say, maybe if they had a little bit of frontline ability, they could have had a little more survivability. They decided to opt for the damage, and it just didn't work out for them in the long run. And on the other side of things, 100X, they stuck with what works well. They went with top priority champions for every single player. Like I said, top 2, top 3 at the very least, if not the number 1 champ for a lot of these selections for Sniper Yora and the Volibear for Fnatic. Things, the Azir here for Darkwings. So at the end of the day, they got what they wanted and they were able to clean things up. And of course, this isn't the end of the show. This is the end of the series for sure, but we are going to have an interview with a player maybe of your guys' choice. Last time you wanted Gorko and you got him. So let us know who you would like to get the interview for when we come back. Hawk will be talking to one of the victors here and one of those members of 100 Thieves next that are going to be heading into the grand finals against Taco Gaming. So don't go anywhere. We got a little bit more Proving Grounds underway for you.
And welcome to the interview room, where I am joined by the victorious jungler of 100 Thieves next, Fnatic. How are you feeling after that 2-0 win?
Honestly, pretty good. I think the second game was a little rusty. I mean, we haven't scrimmed a little bit, but I think we found a way, went creative for the last fight, then good, we got the win.
Yeah, I mean, it really did end so fast. You know, we were talking about, like, oh, this game is so tense, it's on a knife's edge, and you guys found that one really good engage. And I do want to ask, just, like, what was going through your head when you got that last engage that sealed the series?
I think the last minute before the dragon, I was just saying, yeah, I'm just gonna hide and look for some crazy flank on that, because if not, it's kind of hard. You know, I'm the sole engaged, I'm just a volley there. So, but no, it felt good. I think good job to the guys. I think they played well today.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely did. And I also am curious, you know, AOE Ginger Turmeric, it feels like they came in with, I think, a playstyle that was definitively theirs. You know, it was maybe a little different than what we would expect. How did you guys sort of react to them potentially trying to throw you guys off your game a bit?
We knew they were going to throw some crazy stuff in, but I think we kind of just knew once you picked Azir, they were going to go with Xerath. So I think we just had an idea, but I think we're confident we'll play versus anything. Just play our game, and I think we'll win anything.
Yeah, fair enough. And are you feeling good about getting revenge for the OQ loss, maybe?
Personally, I don't really care. I think it's mainly you guys that push a narrative that whenever we lose a game, it's just this crazy thing. So I think none of us really cared about Ginger Turmeric beating us.
Yeah, that's more than fair. I mean, I feel like, looking at it from our perspective, right, you guys have just been so successful this year. This is now your third final this year, and what does it mean to you to be on such a high-quality amateur team?
It feels nice, I think, you know, the fact that we're able to get such good players during the offseason, even if when we lost Insanity and Array, you know, it's really great. I think it's good that we're able to get on this, you know, this win streak, and we're able to build some form for PG.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, now you have finals to look forward to, and then PG right after that. I am sure we are all excited to see where you guys are able to go. Best of luck, and congratulations on your win tonight.
Thank you.
And it is now time to cool down a bit from this day of games. The first series was explosive. The second series perhaps a little bit more reserved. In game number 2, we wanted AOE Ginger Turmeric to pick some agency. RMC, did they do it?
Yes, I actually think they did. Not in the traditional sense of agency we think of here. We really like what AGT drafted, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say this was actually the best game we had today from a macro perspective. The teams were incredibly disciplined, and that's why it had such a low kill count. It's kind of boring if you're looking for action, but AGT, they drafted themselves a siege composition. You heard Beatdown and Jolly say it, it's all about space. And AGT did such a good job generating space. There was only one fight where they failed to do that. Unfortunately, it was the game-ending fight.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. So what you're telling me, RMC, is if you're a nerd, that game was extremely exciting.
I'll take the, I'll take the title. Yeah. If you're a nerd, if you enjoy that sort of thing, it was actually really, really good watching them play chess on the Rift.
No, I'm just giving you a hard time. That is genuinely, at least in my opinion, one of the most exciting parts about the game too. I had to mess with you a little bit, but it really was such a clean game for a good portion of it. And Mike Young, I'm curious, you know, we've seen such explosive games before this one throughout, and I feel like there's definitely got to be a different mentality when you're a player in one of these more tense, low-kill games, right?
Most definitely. Even one mistake can cost you the game, just like how we never really had a full blown-out team fight until the very end, and that was it. The game was over. And it just stemmed from one positioning error or one tracking error, and it was the Volibear getting the flank.
Yeah, fair enough. Would you say you're more nervous in a game like this than you are in like a crazy high kill game?
Yeah, most definitely. I would say that usually games where there's not as much action, it's way more nerve-wracking because one play matters so much more. Whereas like if you're just fighting, kind of like in solo queue, you know, you make one mistake, it's not like game over. You get a lot of chances.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. That is really interesting insight right there. And I mean, RMC, we are talking about the macro from this game, and maybe we can pull up this first replay that we have for you guys, because I'm gonna spoil it. There are no kills in this replay, RMC, but why are we showing it to the people?
Well, for one, it shows us pretty much everything this game is about. So we start with the what looks like it's going to be a fight, and I want to focus on how AGT play this, right? The fact that we see Q getting caught up, but after that, they're so good at kind of just zoning out and creating this space.
Oh.
That was clutch for Sword there. Absolutely beautiful. But that's like the only hype moment in this, and yet that's kind of not the important part. Whether or not we do actually see Sniper go down there doesn't change the immediate future. After this, the problem for 100x is what are you going to do, right? Like, you can't engage into them from the front. So they play really well with what they drafted. They've given up the Dragon. You can't approach this. You don't have the vision. You're playing against higher range comp. They decide to go threaten Baron. And I use the word threaten here because you can't actually do Baron. You're kind of low on health. You're not very healthy. And if AGT find you, you're dead. They call Sniper down to the bot lane. This was a teleport into the bot lane there. And even then, it's not about threatening the Dragon. The moment we see AGT go for the Baron to answer 100x there, Sniper then pushed up that bot side, took turret. So despite the fact that 100x couldn't find the engage, couldn't find the fight, they still get the turret for it. They give up the Dragon, sure, but that's not the important thing. They're still slowly chipping in. They're taking the turrets, which is really what League of Legends is about. It's not about the kills. It's not about the objectives. It's about killing the Nexus and turrets along the way.
Yeah, that's a great quote right there. It really is. It's a good illustration of that push and pull of the game. There's always going to be an opposite reaction. I like to call it Newton's law of League of Legends, right? For every action, there's going to be an equal and opposite reaction on the other side of the map. And I do think that replay is such an interesting example. And to the points earlier, you can't make that one mistake. In that fight, AGT didn't, but Mike Young in this fight, they do.
Yeah, so one of the biggest counters to a poke comp like Xerath and Jace is getting that flank, getting that engage. And we see it here. The Volibear came from the side, the Fiora came from the side. Everything just followed right after.
Yeah, and they followed in so quickly, right? Like, it's just such a contrast in that Dragon fight. Ginger Turmeric, they were able to poke him out in the choke points. Xerath throwing spells in, but then just one stun. And then a nice shuffle as well from Darkwings. It just feels like it really makes everything difficult, RMC.
And part of this just comes into the draft, right? Like, as much as I praise AGT's draft here, you are playing on the edge of a knife.
Yeah.
One mistake, and it's gone. Literally, that's what happened here. If you play it right, theoretically, you actually win, because you saw how hard it was for 100x. And even Fnatic in the interview mentioned that, hey, we knew they were going to pick this Earth. We knew it was going to be really hard to deal with, but we had confidence in ourselves to be able to play that. And that's why I call this such a disciplined game from both of these teams. 100x didn't panic. We didn't see the Volibear. We didn't see Fnatic specifically on that Volibear charging in, dying, trying to force fights. No. He was patient. He waited, and he found the key one.
Yeah, and definitely was the case. I mean, what a close game. The knife, unfortunately, they weren't able to stand on it for long enough. But honestly, again, I want to give credit to Ginger Turmeric. Impressive that they stood on that knife for so long and really went toe-to-toe with 100 Thieves next. But now as we take a step back, I do want to give a quick update on the Proving Ground seeding. This does now lock Ginger Turmeric in 5th and Cincinnati Fear in 4th, which means that the only thing that can change is whether or not Taco Gaming wins the finals. If they win, they get 2nd seed with AOE in 3rd. Otherwise, Taco moves up to 2nd place. 100 Thieves next, they have locked 1st seed. So everything has pretty much shaken out here in regards to the Proving Grounds. But Mike Young, I will turn it over to you. Any closing thoughts as we wind down from this 100 Thieves next and AOE Ginger Turmeric series?
Yeah, definitely 100 Thieves showing again that clean mechanics and clean macro shines, and they're just happy playing into any draft, any team. They're not really shaken from surprise drafts, different meta picks. They're just going to play their game, and that's what matters the most.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we can take another look at all of our predictions as well. This time, fortunately, most of us were right. Sorry, RMC, you were not the prophet this time around, but I respect the pick, and casters, rest assured, you guys are all safe from the memeage this time. It was a little rough out there the last couple days for us all, so we're glad that 100 Thieves was able to do it for us. But next week, or no, not next week, tomorrow is the finals. 100 Thieves next up against Taco Gaming. That's sure to be a good one. I mean, RFC, real quick, give me some sort of anticipation, some sort of hype for that one.
I mean, 100 Thieves next, they're still the final boss. Fnatic's attitude was boss on the interview. He said, you know what? You guys are the ones who make up these stories about our losses for good reason. So they're chilling. And Taco, There have been the dark horses this tournament, and we've seen the dark horses thrive before. So, Taco,
Yeah.
you've upset enough people. One more upset. Let's go.
Oh, man, and that would be a big upset, RMC. I think that would be pretty damn cool if they were able to pull it off. But yeah, tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific will be that finals between 100 Thieves Next and Taco Gaming. Be sure to tune in. It will be a best of 5 this time around, so we'll get at least 3 games of that awesome finals action. But that's it here on the Academy stream. Mike Young, thank you so much for joining us and providing such incredible insight from someone that has been around the scene for a pretty good amount of time. That really was amazing. Thank you for joining us. And anything that you want to promote or shout out, feel free to do it right now.
Shout out to the viewers. Thanks for watching. This was a sick cast and also analyst desk. I was really happy being invited again. 100 Thieves is just really great to watch. I've watched and done the analyst desk for these guys for probably 2 years now, and it's just really cool how even with different rosters, they've been winning a lot of games. So glad to be here.
Yeah, truly seems like 100 Thieves maybe knows what they're doing as an org. I don't know. That might be a hot take. No, I'm kidding. But seriously, yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. Shout out to 100 Thieves Next for being so strong. RMC, thank you for being such an incredible analyst. It was a pleasure as always. And thank you to our sponsors for whom, without them, we could not do what we do. Atlantic, HyperX, and Ben Q. Zowie. Thank you for all the support. But from all of us here at Unified, I've been Hawk. Stay safe and have a great night.